Welcome to the first BTS, the first behind the scenes video for channel members. I'm super excited you're here. Today, I thought we'd kick it off with something that a lot of people ask me about, and that is a new studio tour. And so I've done a studio tour in the past, and if you haven't seen it, I'll link it up here so you can go back and watch that and see the evolution of what I used to be in and where I am now. But I typically don't like doing studio tours because yeah, I get the feeling that it makes you feel vulnerable when you kind of peel back the curtain and let everyone into your world of not so professional looking stuff behind the camera. But um, but I think we're all content creators, and or most of us are. So when you see my setup, you'll be like, oh yeah, this dude's a real dude, and that's really what this whole BTS series is about for you, right? Where we get to be real, and you get to see what you know the trials and tribulations that I also go through, that I struggle with, that you potentially could struggle with too. And so um, here's my studio. I have it is my voiceover studio, but more so my YouTube studio. I have in the past always optimized my studio for recording voiceovers, but now I've decided to take a different route and optimize it for YouTube. And so this is the third bedroom in my house. It is a 10-foot by 11-foot spare bedroom, and yeah, that's that. So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on here. So there are a couple different components to the soundproofing in this space. The first are these, which are audio mute blankets, and they are sound dampening blankets. I think they go by sound sheets now in audio mute, and they are lining three of the walls of this room: that wall, the back wall, and this wall over here. And then in front of those sound blankets, which are hung against the wall, are my sound panels. And my sound panels are basically these guys right here. This one you can see hung on the door. And on my closet door I have a double stacked one. And these are, I built them myself. They are DIY sound panels made out of Owens Corning 703 rigid fiberglass and backed by a frame. You can see them, like, you can see it. I don't know if you can see that, but these are the 4-inch ones that go around the entirety of my outside of my space, and they basically absorb as much sound as I need them to. Now, the reality is that when you are talking about having a studio inside of a residential dwelling, you're never going to be able to soundproof that. Soundproofing is a myth in most places because it requires a lot of density, a lot of mass, a lot of space, and the feasibility of doing that anywhere is difficult to do on your own. But for me, it's not necessarily about soundproofing, because you don't want, I mean, obviously you don't want sound to go out or sound to come in, but mostly because I live in a quiet neighborhood, because I live in a cul-de-sac, my town is quiet. I don't need to be soundproof per se, but sound absorption is a big deal because I don't want my voice reflecting over all of these different surfaces. And so that's the basis for all of this. It used to be more enclosed so that I could maximize the sound for my voiceover work, but because I've made the decision to try to be a full-time content creator, I did configure it differently so that I have a bunch of different areas to sit and shoot videos. And just being able to have spaces dedicated to set up a camera, throw a camera someplace, turn it on, and then start talking it's been really great. So let's talk about some of the equipment that I have in here. Let's start with my desk. So I just got this sit stand desk just a little while ago, and I really like a clean, minimalist kind of feel to my workstation. So I just have a keyboard, wireless trackball mouse, my audio interface, which is the Zoom UAC 232, because I like recording in 32-bit float. I run two mics into this, The first one is this guy on this on that short Ulanzi stand. It's the My Deity S-Mic 2S, which is one of my favorite short shotgun mics. The second is the microphone I use primarily for voiceover, and that's this guy, Lewitt LCT 440 Pure, on this really sweet kind of locking arm I got from Ulanzi. And it's I used to have a PSA 1 from Rode, which was great, but it kind of didn't have the reach I wanted. So now that PSA 1 is hanging that light. On my desk I have my 24-inch monitor on a monitor arm, and then my two studio monitors, which are KRK Rocket 5s. I've had those for about 7 or 8 years. And this whole desk is on casters and it's modular. I do have an IKEA chair underneath in case I want to sit. But the modularity comes in because I want to move this around, and I have only 2 cables running off the side, one for power and one for data and image. So this one is my HDMI and my USB cables, and the other one is just my power to power all the devices on here, as well as the motor for the table. My computer is actually in my closet behind the sound panel, so that I don't ever hear fan noise, because that is something that can easily bleed into anyone's recordings. And then, I typically stand. I do have this stool I lean on sometimes, which you see in my videos. The stool also doubles as like a tripod stand, but I like standing. It's been really great to be able to do that. I have this weird lamp, which sometimes is backlighting. I do have a DSLR camera. This is my Canon T7i. I have a Pancake 24mm lens on it, and I use this. I used to use that as my primary camera, but I don't know. I thought I'd change it up a little bit and start using my Action 4, which is what I'm recording this video on, by the way. Over here I have a little rolling rack with shelving and some storage shelves. I usually keep everything that I use on a regular basis on top of this, so you can see that I have my Rode VideoMic NTG, which I've been using in the majority of my videos. Over here on this, I store all my cables and other microphones in these shelves. I do have a little charging station where I have this USB hub, so I can charge my DJI batteries and my rechargeable batteries that I use in most of my gear. I got one little frame with my boy Cooper. I do have a random lamp that is like in the shape of a fox, and I'm an avid retro gamer, and so I have this handheld retro mini device. It's a Miu Mini. It's actually pretty fun. And then over here, I used to run a theater. I used to operate a theater, and the theater was bought out and torn down, and so before it was demolished, I did get one of these chairs from that space. And so I put that on casters and I roll it around and I sit in my office. It's pretty, it reminds me of being back in the theater space. And that's basically it. On this side, I have a shelving unit that I have some stuff. I might shoot some videos with this in the background, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I've set it up to be that way with a couple different microphones. I have my Action 3 and my Zoom M3. I do have a drone. I put a second monitor here in case I want to monitor other things. I have my on-camera mics. I got my Groot and another small LED light. And I used to play hockey. So I played goalie. I was a goalie growing up and through high school and through adult rec leagues. And when I talk about, sometimes I mention I used to have other YouTube channels. One of them was a hockey-centric channel where I went by the moniker of VO Goalie. And so, that's like leftover merch from days of influencing past. And other than that, that's my basic setup. The one thing that I really dislike about this office in general is the wallpaper, which is why you pretty much never see it in any of my videos. It's this guy right here. It's like this pink striped floral deal, and for me it feels like, you ever see the movie Annabelle about the doll that comes to life and terrorizes like a family? It feels like that. It feels like this room should have multiple shelving units lined with porcelain dolls that all kind of like come alive in the middle of the night and terrorize the house. That's what it feels like. And so I can't bring myself to take it down because I've already done all of this work. But yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about the space. But other than that, it's been really great to be able to have a dedicated space where you can set up a camera, you can have lights that are permanently set up, you can have things that are at the ready so that the barrier to content creation is that much lower. But I really wanted to show you my studio and my recording setup because there's this idea on YouTube that everything has to be super expensive, super professional. It has to be super, like I watch a lot of different influencers and some of them have crazy, crazy, awesome studio setups. And I thought to myself, man, I don't know if I would be able to compete with that. But on the same time, you don't need all of the best or newest stuff. I'm still using gear that I bought 7 years ago. My studio monitors are from 7 years ago. The microphone that I use for voiceover work I bought at launch when Lewitt first released the LCT 440 Pure. And so I've had this exact mic I've been using for like 6 years straight every day. I do have a backup that hasn't seen the light of day yet in case something happens. But yeah, other than that, it's so you don't need to like continuously go out, buy new gear or have even the most expensive gear to be able to produce good content. And so yeah, hopefully showing you that I use some of the stuff that I actually recommend shows you that, yeah, I'm just a regular dude that has regular creator problems just like you with regards to, I don't know, figuring out how to set up their space to shoot videos in an optimal way. And I think now that I have this open and not so dead sounding, I think that's one of the traps that people fall into when they're soundproofing their space. They think it has to be completely dead and quiet, when in fact that feels a little too clinical for people when they hear it. And so having a little bit of a liveliness to the space. I have hardwood floors that I only put one rug over, and I do have some untreated surfaces that, aside from sound absorption, sometimes there's sound dispersion and it breaks up sounds. And so having a mixture of both can be beneficial in giving your videos some life. And so, yeah, that's my studio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any specific questions about anything you saw in here, leave them down in the comments below, because it's these videos that I like to interact with you, channel members, so that we can have that kind of conversation that I can't normally have on my regular content. And I can show you the things, all the things that I have and do and problems I have, and run things by you so that we can have that kind of interaction and conversation. And so thanks so much again for becoming a channel member. I think we're going to have a lot of fun together. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again real soon.